How goes it on this blessed day? For sure. I wanted to make another video. It's been a minute, been a long minute. The grime's been real, for sure. Um, I was going to post another video, but this one was more prevalent through waiting through my heart and soul. There's a lot of hate, anger going around in the world. It always has, but lately it's been kind of squirrely, most definitely. And I think it was important for me to kind of lead towards this direction. Even though I haven't had a second to get on through some of my experiences on the time that I haven't been on, I definitely wanted to share something with you. Um, it's about anger and um, how it affects people, definitely. Um, it's an interesting experience for me, at least. And so, through my experience in September, a lot of things have changed for me. Um, Obviously, if you haven't seen the videos, you can go check them out. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. Um, but the things that I used to like, I don't really like so much anymore. And the things that I didn't like, I kind of like a lot more now. For instance, reading. I used to have problems reading. I would space out and read a paragraph and have the whole novel in my head of something totally different. That's ADD at its finest for me. One of the things. Uh, so one of the things I've been doing is reading my Bible quite a bit. I've gotten about 23 verses in through a guide in my Bible, so that way I can start piecing things together. There's a whole study guide, 3 different levels for the whole Bible in about a year. Anyway, but one of the things I read was in Matthew 5:21-23, where it talks about anger in your heart is like murder in a heart and soul of somebody that you are focused on. There's righteous anger and just anger with that, and Jesus displayed that at least once, justifiably. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different story. What I'm talking about is what's been going around in the world with sexual preference, um, racism, um, gender equality, um, and things like that. But we should love everyone, right? We shouldn't hate them. We shouldn't be angry at them. We should pray for them and love them, even if we don't agree with what they're doing or if they're living in sin. We should pray for them, most definitely, right? And one of my experiences was at work. Um, there was a guy at work, we'll call him Gavin, right? And Gavin doesn't seem like a bad guy. But when I first started there and working with him for several months around, he's on a different shift, so I interact with him. I'm first and he's second. I interact with him, I see him, and for some reason, he wouldn't let me be. Um, Always critiquing, saying nasty stuff, things I didn't like. Um, his demeanor and stuff was very dark, alpha male. Um, Walking around trying to be somewhat of a dictator ish person. And I'm sure in his mind he was trying to be a leader at work, trying to do his job at the best he can do, right? Which is no fault, you know. Sometimes it's how you go about things. Anyway, so this went on and on and on. And I'm the type of person to let things go. I'm the type of person to try to forgive. Um, but when it comes to a certain point, or if you cross that line, I'll speak my piece. I will defend myself. and you should always defend yourself. You shouldn't let people walk over you or put you down or make you feel less of or anything like that. Defend yourself. But one thing that I did, or how I was more before September, was when you cross that line or you hit that point, it was like a superhuman anger. Like, I would get angry, mad, like, and there was no stopping it. And the more fuel you put on the fire, the more angry I got. And that fueled it for more and more and more. And it was really hard for me to let go of things and what people did. Eventually, I could forgive, maybe not so much forget, and things like that. But true forgiveness is to is to forgive and pretty much forget, like it never happened, or to be sincere, to let it go. But there's sometimes you can't, if it's shady enough and it's a trust thing, that's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to let someone thieve from you and then continue to have them around, because even if you forgive them, you can't really forget what they do on a consistent basis. But that's here and there. That was more about me. And so, back to Gavin. So Gavin really had something for me, coming at me, doing things, saying things, and bringing my anxiety level really high, even in his presence. But there's no reason to fear. God said to fear not. You know what I'm saying? You're with me. You're a son of the light. Like, there's no reason to fear like that. Arm yourself and take care of it through him, or he'll take care of it for you. There's no reason to be combative and things like that. In that manner, like an angry, combative manner. So Gavin, it's funny because I had my experience in September, and all of a sudden, I didn't feel that anxiety when I was around him. I actually felt the opposite. And for that 50 days that I was very sober and clear and going through my experience and getting things in order that are habits that I'm doing now, I not that I saw it, but I felt it. And what I mean by felt it, I see other people's presence in front of me seeing these things, like a glow or a radiance of what's going on with me. And a lot of people accepted it. They smiled. They told me that I seemed happier than what I've ever been, or happier in general. And it was a really great experience with other people involved seeing this. And with Gavin, it's like it radiated so much he couldn't look at me. He couldn't, like, every time I saw him, he turned his head and looked down, looked the other way, walked the other way, for the most part. And it's funny because right before my experience in September, I stood my ground with him. I wasn't nasty with him, but he was following me around, following me into the locker room, and was coming at me. And I was like, hey, stop doing that, please. Like, and I stood my ground with the situation, and I put him in his place. And then September happened, and the whole not looking at me, walking the opposite way, not saying a word to me, and I could tell it really got to him, you know? And it's funny because Jesus said, the world says to love your neighbor, but hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemy. Pray for them. And it's funny because that's something that I never really did. And it's funny how things change when you get to this place. So I started doing that and really changing my heart, my soul, my mental game, everything. Like, and it's not, and so when I started praying for him, months and months went on, and like I had to work with him in certain things like getting audited or doing inventory or doing this or doing that. I had to work with him, and sometimes he would he stopped acting that way towards me. Um, Started chatting with me a little bit, things like that, like small talk. And still doing weird things like follow me into the bathroom when I have to go to the bathroom. Like really weird. But instead of going and going to the HR about it or continuing to raise a stink about it or getting angry with it, I prayed about it, and that doesn't bother me anymore. I think it's weird, but it's whatever. And so it's funny because not too long ago, on I don't really get on Facebook too much, but when I got on Facebook as a suggestion through mutual friends at work, our working grind, his suggestion came up for his profile. And let me tell you, I was pretty shocked about it, but it explains why I felt his dark energy, like all the time. And this dude likes to cuss a lot and say the blasphemy things, like the GD word, and so on and so forth. And so when I looked at his profile, because I was curious, had a lot of blasphemy things on there. And it's funny because I kept asking the Lord, why has he got such a thing for me? And what is this dark deal? Like, I want to know. But I'm not going to go pry. I'm going to pray about it. And it's funny how Yeshua and Yahweh will reveal things to you in the time that you need to reveal. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I kept praying for him. And like I said, I could see his shift. And when I saw his profile of the Baphomet, the 3 upside down crosses, and things like that, explains a lot to me. A lot. And it's funny because even though I know this about Gavin, each time I see him, I pray for him. I smile. I'm very polite. And it's funny because when you fight dark with light or a different way of fighting with, like when you have a bully and you don't fight with them, and they can't fight with themselves, you stop being a target because you're fighting in a different way that they don't understand or how to interact with somebody. And it's funny how when you pray about somebody out of love for that person, it's like doing the same thing. And it's also giving it to them the strength, the combativeness through them. They'll take care of things. They'll take care of their demons. And it's funny because I felt like he was very convicted of what he found in me. Like, it brung out the demons in him, and the things that he was saying or doing was because of his problems, not me. I was just right there. Or I'm the different side of it. I'm the light side versus his dark side. Of course he's going to want to do that. The demons are telling him to do that. And I pray that he finds Yeshua all the time. And things have turned around. Like, it's pleasurable at the grind. I no longer have these issues. And if everyone would do that and would stop committing murder in their heart and soul for these people, I think things will actually be better. And things would move in a very awesome direction. But, I mean, it's a very general thing, I could pray for someone out in Colorado, but that Colorado person, I mean, it is what it is. And that's just an example. And so, it's very important to do something like that. And I found it very interesting it was put on my heart to sit there and give it to God, give it to Jesus, pray for these people, help them get out of their sin and stuff. Have them see them, the triune. Why not? Like, have the Trinity come into their heart and soul and find that place to bring them out of darkness. He brought me out of darkness. I might have been a Christian, but I was walking in darkness, a carnal Christian. And he brought me out. He leveled me up. I'm different. I'm a different creature now. And I just want to spread that love and show that shine and give it to you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I even was talking to a friend that was like, I was at my grind and they gave me all these maintenance things to do and I was doing them, and my other partner had their things to do and they did half of what they were supposed to do. And what I mean by that is like they only did half the job that they were assigned to on that list. Like one thing, like it might, like, you got your fryer covers and your hoods and stuff underneath, and he cleaned the hoods, but he didn't clean inside, if that makes sense. So when the inspector or manager came back around and saw that that wasn't completed, they threw it on him. He said that he was getting very upset, angry, and mad about it, and was about to say something really dumb and go off and like that. But he remembered me saying something about like this to him. Instead, he took his 5 minutes and was good. And I reassured him today about that. And he was like, thank you. And I was sitting there telling him that even if that person didn't complete their job and you complete it for them, it looks good in your eyes. It shows that, you might be worth more than that person that's only doing half the job, even if they were there longer. You know what I'm saying? So instead of getting mad and showing disdain towards people or the job or blowing up, pray about it. Give it to Triune God. Give it to everything like that, and you'll see a difference, And I left him like that, and he said, thank you for that reinsurance, because that's just something I really need. And we need that, not just me, not just him, but everybody needs it together. You know what I'm saying? And it's a very interesting thing and concept. And it's the first time that I've really experienced this in a different way. Like I said, I was very the opposite, very much like Gavin in that manner. But I'm no longer like that. And it's funny how when I did that, the reaction I got is different. Himself was revealed to me. And even the Matthew verse of 5:21-23 was even directed towards me, and something that I was listening to, whether it was a podcast or radio station or whatever, it came up. And there's like 25 plus verses or more about anger in the Bible and what it is and what it does and how everything is about that. But that Matthew verse talking specifically about anger is like murder spiritually through the heart. And we all know murder was one of the things on our commandments not to do. So even if you physically didn't do it, you can still spiritually, through your heart, do it. You know what I'm saying? So, try not to do that. Or maybe give it and see what happens. Ask for the strength. Ask for the prayer. Ask about how I'll go about doing it. But anyway, this is pretty long enough. I was trying to make it a little bit shorter, but I definitely wanted to share this experience with you and put it out there. It was laying on my heart to make this video for you guys, and I hope that you really like it. Just remember to try to carry your cross every day. He says to carry your cross every day, but we're not perfect, and sometimes we slip up. Repent and try again and pick that cross up and carry it. I try to do that daily, every day. It's made so much of a difference in my life. You know, and I'm not saying that you can't defend yourself physically or mentally and through your heart, but it's about how you go about doing it. You know what I'm saying? And maybe if you make that change, you can change the world. Because my world has changed through this. You know, um, it's pretty rad. Actually, like it's super cool. It's super cool. But anyway, on that note, you guys have a blessed night. I'll check you guys later for sure. Bye bye.